So today we're going to see about some more example in Java, and these are the examples that usually helps you in generating it's from interview point of also this is important, and these are some programs that we useful in our daily mathematical calculation. Like if you can see here, I'm performing here random, okay, some random number I'm generating here. So this random number actually is useful in sometime OTP or generating some random value. So there this kind of applications are helpful. So how you're going to generate random number in Java? There is a math libraries are there. Just like in C language you might have studied math.h header file math.h. When you import it, you can able to use various mathematical operation, right? So similarly here also the same. This random function inside this math library, you can use it to perform various mathematical operation. So let me run and show you. So you can see here, right? The different random number is generated here, like 0 point something, 0.54. You can make changes like you if you multiply by 100, you can get in a two-digit random number. If you multiply by 1000, you will get like a three-digit, four-digit. In that way, you can generate a random number. So these are the way of generating a random number, with the help of a math library. Always remember, whenever you want to perform any mathematical operation inside this math library, you can get a several function. So you can explore from your side whenever any task is come, or like in an interview, if they give you some mathematical operation, just explore from your side, like what are the different mathematical operation you can perform inside this math library. As I given you one example with random, because mostly sometimes they ask how you can generate random number in math Java, so you should be aware about it, that this is a random number. One more programs regarding how you can generate random number within a certain range.
Uh,
Yes,
so if we run again, so then we will get same value or different value?
let me show you. See,
Different value.
yeah,
Okay, sir.
because this is a random function, so this always generate a random value. It is not a static one, or it's not a stable that you will get the same. Okay, but here I have not given any range, and that's the reason it is coming all the random value. But the another program that I'm showing you here, you can decide it like in between which two value you want a random number. So let me run this first, and then I will explain you. So as you can see here, the random value between 200 to 400 is this one. Similarly, another random value I generated within this range only. So I'm getting this 337, right? So you can decide it like suppose if you want OTP. So OTP you can decide it from 1000 to, suppose normally OTP is of 4 digit, right? So you can decide from 1000 to 999. In that range you can run this. So it will going to give you the random value in the range of 1000 to 999. Let's try this. So see here, The random value between 1000 to 99 is first one is this, and the next value that I generated again, the same, I got this one. So every time you will get a random value in this range, four digit OTP that generated for your banking transaction or like UPI or Google usually give you six digit, right? So there you can make changes to six digit and you can generate random value. So this is also you should be aware. Now how it is working, you are just trying to typecasting the value with the help of what you are doing. Mathematical, the libraries are there. So here, math.random into max max value is what 999 minus minimum value that is will become 8999 plus 1 will become 9000 plus minimum 10,000, right? So you will going to multiply all whatever the random value will be decide. As you know, that random value with this math dot random was coming in a decimal, right? And I said you, when you are going to multiply with four-digit number, you will going to get a four digit. You just see here when you in this. Let me run this one. So here you can see if you multiply this with 1000, so how much you will get? 173. If you multiply with 10,000, you will get around 1735, right? So four digit you will get it, right? So in this way you have to understand like how it is working. So this is one more example where you can call this math library random function, but you multiply this with the trig max minus min plus 1 plus min. So when you are going to do that, it will going to give you four digit random number. Okay. So
Sir,
this,
even in
yeah,
place of max minus min plus 1 plus min, even we can use multiply by 1000 also.
how you can do that also.
Okay, sir.
If you do by 1000, you will get three digit. You see here 173, right? You
Yes,
have to
sir.
take 10,000 here. So then you will get a four digit. So you can apply any logic here. It depends on you. I decided to take whatever minimum and maximum value user will decide. You can take these two value based on a user also with scanner library. If you remember in my previous lecture, I have explained scanner library, right?
Yes, sir.
So, so with the help of scanner, you can accept a minimum and maximum value and then you pass it. So I had written this by keeping those things in a mind. Here, this 10,000 is a like a predefined kind of thing, means you have just given 10,000 in a logic. But if you give like this, then whatever the value user will pass for the max and minimum, based on that your random number will generate. Suppose you are passing maximum 10,000, minimum is 100, then you can just try with that also. So this is a way of generating a random number. So always remember, like if they ask you in the interview how you can generate random number in a Java, then you can say that there is a library called dot random inside the math library, which is of a double data type, which generate a value within this 0.0 to 1.1, a kind of a double value. Okay, so it's generated in that way. Now I will going to show you one more concept, that is polymorphism. We have seen inheritance and I've explained you interface also. I will going to upload all the video today night. Sorry, all the code today night because you have to explore also. So today all the codes, this all the course code is already available in my GitHub folder, but the Java intern one folder that I created specifically for you, there I need to upload it back again. So I will upload it by today. So you can, with the project also that I explained, e-commerce and personal website project, so you can explore that also. So let's see about the polymorphism concept. In a Java, there you somebody asked me on that day what is abstraction and polymorphism. Abstraction and polymorphism means you can use same name to perform different operation. So polymorphism concept inside the Java comes like operator overloading, function overloading. Let me explain you, or let me show you the pictures. So you can see here polymorphism. Why do we implement polymorphism? So in polymorphism means with the same name function, you can perform two different operations. If you remember, if you studied C language, you might be aware that you cannot declare two function with the same name, right? If you can see here, just 1 minute. Okay. Yeah, can you see my screen, everyone? Everyone, they can see my screen.
Yes, sir. We can see, sir.
Yes.
So here, if you see that here, like in a previous language, whatever you have studied, C++. So you might be aware that you cannot declare a method with the same name. If you will going to declare it, your compiler will get confused, right? So polymorphism term was introduced in Java or in OOPS concept where you can use a method with the same name. Only the difference is that what that you should have a like this parameter should be different. Sorry, you can see here. I cannot explain. 1 minute. Let me take a control plus. Yeah, you can see here void function, void function, void function, void function. All are different fun functions are there, but their parameters are different. This is called as a method overloading, which comes under polymorphism. Polymorphism says you can use method with the same name. Okay. In Java or in a OOPS concept, it will not give an error if you use a method with the same name. Only thing is that you should be aware that the parameter name should be different, their parameter count should be different otherwise, or their parameter should be different. Now here you can see in the first one I'm passing integer a, in second one I'm passing integer a and b, and here character. So it is working fine. Okay, here there will be a no problem. But if I give you integer a in both, it will be a problem. Okay, because parameter should be different. This is what method overloading. Now there is one more concept that comes under polymorphism, that is called overriding. What do you mean by overriding? You can declare a method exactly same, but it should be in a different class. That is one function that you declare it is in a base class, parent class, and one function that you declare it is in a child class. So that is called as a overriding. So these two concepts are called as a polymorphism. What do you mean by polymorphism? Polymorphism, from the name only it is clear. Let me write down here. Polymorphism means poly means many, taking multiple form. Uh, in C++, if you have studied, in C++ also there was a polymorphism because C++ is also an object-oriented programming, but there was an operator overloading. Means same operator you can perform different operation. For example, if I say you remember this symbol, can you tell me for what operation we do with this symbol?
Sir, pointer
Yes, and
for multiplication.
correct. So here it is a system time. It is a system polymorphism. Means here same symbol is using for pointer and it is using for multiplication also, right? So that is called operator overloading. Means same operator having different meaning. Similarly, this is for addition, but if I use double, it will going to use with increment, right? So that is called polymorphism. But in Java, operator polymorphism has been removed. Only the function overloading, operator overloading is removed in Java, is not added in a Java because operator overloading was complex. So Java, as it is reducing the complexity, so they have removed it. So they have just added this function overloading where you can add a function with the same name, but parameter should be different. And another one is your overriding, where you can add a function, but the parameter means here integer a, here also the integer a, they should be in a different class. Suppose this is your parent class, window 8, and same function you are implementing in a window 10, but they are should be in a different, and you can declare as it is function here. That is called overriding. There is no difference here, right? So this is called a polymorphism concept. Now, one more concept is there in OOPS, that is called abstraction. What do you mean by this abstraction? Abstraction means that in abstraction, in general meaning is hiding the details. So what we do, hiding the details means sometime we require a scenario, so where we just declare the function in the parent class, but we implement it in a child class. Abstraction means what? Suppose you have a two class, okay? Suppose let's take an example of window 10. Window 10 is your parent class, and window 11 nowadays, window 11 is also coming to the market. It is your child class. So abstraction means what? Hiding the detail. So what you decided that in window 10, you decided that you decided to add some screen recording or gaming. Okay, these are the application you decided that you will going to add in a window 11. So what you did, you have declared the function or method of screen recording and gaming in a window 10, but you have not provided a body to it. You have not implemented it. You have just added in a window 10, so that when window 11 will going to be implement, you will remember that okay, I have added this function in a window 10 and I will going to implement here. Abstraction means what? Hiding the detail. So what we do in abstraction, we just declare a method in the parent class. We do not provide a body to it. We leave it on a child class. Whoever will going to inherit this abstraction class, they will going to provide a body to it. For example, you can think like Windows 10 operating system. Uh, Windows 10 operating system, they added two functions, but they decided that not to uh, add screen recording and gaming now. We're going to generate a new version in the future with Windows 11. There we're going to implement. So in that case, this abstraction concept comes. Abstraction means you're hiding the details. You have just added the function name, but you have not disclosed it. You have not provided a body to it. Now, Windows 11, the child class, when it will going to come into market, they will implement this screen recording and gaming function according to their requirement. Okay, like now suppose Windows 12 will come. Windows 12 will suppose based on 3D and more gaming graphics. So they will provide body to it. Means they will provide the body in the sense what this function will going to do. They will going to declare in this class. So abstraction will leave you completely on the child class what they wanted to do with the function. So abstraction means let me show you. First, let me show you your uh, polymorphism programs. Then we're going to see abstraction also. So when you wanted to close the project, you have to close the project. If you are switching to the another project, so just close that project. And when you want to stay on this project, then you will going to click on close other unrelated project. Okay, so that other project will be closed. So as you can see here, extend 1 minute. So see here, I have create one class, public class overriding. Okay. Inside this, I have a function display info, and here I am printing this common English language. Okay. This is my one class. Now here I created one more class, pre-example one, and this example is inheriting this class. So if you remember how you can inherit a class with the help of extend keyword, right? So which is your parent class here? Overriding, right? Overriding is your parent class. Pre-example is your child class. Now here I have declared the same function you can see here, public void display info, which is exactly same as your overriding class. But here the difference is what? They two are declared in a two different class. So what we'll call this term? Overriding. Okay, as I said you, here you declare this void display info function, and here in free example one.java you declare again one display info function, right? Both are in a different class. Now, when you want to execute it, what you did, you create a new class and you just create an object of which class? Overriding class, and you are calling l1.info. So whichever class object you are going to create, you are going to execute that. Now, if I create an object for like suppose pre-example one, I will going to access that one. Okay, let me create it. Sorry for that. Okay, P example one. Hmm. So whichever object you are going to create, you are going to access that function. Am I clear to you? Like see here, it's an overriding. I created one function display info. Similar function I created here. Okay, but the thing is that I created in a different class. So in overriding, you can declare a function with exactly same, but it should be in a different class. And when you want to execute it, so I create one new class, and there I added a main function, and this is object creation. If you remember, I told you, right, how you can instantiate any variable or any function while creating an object. As Java is a completely object-oriented programming language, object-oriented programming language, so you can access the function or any variable with the name of a object. You have to create an object. So here L1 is an object of overriding class, L2 is an object of p-example class. And whenever you will run l1.displayInfo, it will going to run overriding class display info. When you will going to run l2.displayInfo, it will going to run p-example display info. So you can see here, when I'm calling this, both are running completely fine, right? So this way overriding works. Now, how will you see overloading? Okay, let me close this. I will going to share you all this program. Don't worry. So you can see here the polymorphism overloading concept here. You can see I created one method, static int multiply. If you want, you can remove static also, and you can just declare public int multiply. Anything is okay. So here I create multiply function. I'm passing two parameter a and b. This will going to return a into b. Okay. This will going to return multiplication of a into b. Return keyword, why do we use in programming language? It will going to return the operation inside your RAM memory. Okay, so return keyword will going to return inside your RAM the operation. What operation? It is doing multiplication between two parameter a and b. Similarly, other function also doing the same, but they are double. Okay, so they will also going to return the multiplication between a and b, but in a double data type. Like guys, we have only 1 minute. If it get disconnect, please rejoin the meeting. Okay. So here you are using the same function with a different parameter that is called operator overloading. Previous example was overriding, where method was exactly same but they are in a different class, that is overriding. Don't get confused with overloading and overriding. Overloading means declaring a method with the same name but their parameter should be different and within a same class. You can see I'm declaring within a same class, but when you declare it in a different class